today we had a customer drop off their Ram Promaster 159 extended. So we're going to be making some upgrades to it, getting a new battery bank, upgraded inverter, getting an AC unit installed, 12 volt on the roof. So we're pretty excited. Let me take you through the build. The main things we're going to be doing are replacing the Renogy equipment with Victron, and we're going to be increasing the size of the battery bank. So because she's adding an air conditioning unit, there's going to be a higher energy demand, so we're going to be increasing the size of this Battleborn battery bank. Now, these are great batteries, but they're a bit old, and at this point, it's cheaper for us to install 800 amp hours of SOK lithium batteries, which we work with and we love. We're going to be replacing the alternator charger with a Victron one, the Renogy charge controller with Victron, and most importantly, the inverter. All those items will communicate to a central Victron hub called the Serbo GX. The Serbo will then send information both to a touchscreen as well as to the online portal for VRM, where you can monitor all your Victron equipment online. And also, I can make changes for troubleshoot from my desk. So a lot of you might ask, why did we take out Renogy equipment that's working just fine? A couple reasons. I've had pretty bad experiences with their customer service and high failure rates of their equipment. Also, if you're plugged into a 15 amp outlet and you actually need 20 or 25 amps of shore power to do something big like start an air conditioning unit, that's going to be a limiting factor of that equipment. With Victron, you can both use shore power and batteries to supplement that shore power at the same time. That's called the power assist feature. So that's one major upgrade of using the Victron inverter. So as we're nearing the end of this job, we've neatened up a lot of the wiring and we've programmed all the devices so they should operate as expected at this point. What we're going to do next is go through and test everything, and we're not going to just turn it on and make sure it works. We're going to run a full load. We're going to go around and clamp a lot of the wires, make sure that the batteries are sharing current equally, that they're well balanced in the way that they're wired. We're going to go around with our FLIR infrared camera and check all the connection points, see if there's any hot spots, anything that's generating too much heat. It's definitely normal to see heat around the inverter, around the Orion chargers, around the MPPT as it's charging the batteries, but you don't want to see a connection that is generating a lot of heat. That could indicate it's either loose, an undersized wire, or just otherwise a bad connection. So this customer got 800 amp hours of battery storage. In her case, basically unlimited energy. She's got a 3000 watt multi-plus inverter, 2 Orion 30 amp chargers in parallel. She's got a 12 volt 220 amp battery protect. We've got a Serbo GX back here. That's kind of the brain of the system. That's what's sending all the information to my desk and to the touchscreen. And we also replaced her main AC loads panel. We went ahead and added some lights in the rear, both above and inside the plexiglass cases. And there is also a sleek hidden battery disconnect button on the right side of this propane detector.
So if ever there's an issue with the system or she's going to go on an extended vacation, she can just click a button and her batteries are completely disconnected from the system. So I'm pretty happy about how this turned out. This was our first time putting a plexiglass showcase in. You can completely access the inverter, remove the case. You can see all the AC connections and the Orions from within this case without having to remove the cover at all. Now we used an HDPE cover. I really like this material. It machines easily. You can cut it and drill through it just as you do with wood. And I like it because, you know, it sits nicely up against this 80/20 rail. And we've included a tool so that she can easily remove this panel if ever she needs access. There's just 9 bolts that she would just loosen, remove the panel. You know, there's no need for a power drill or anything fancy. A couple more things. We put in these 2 cooling fans. So these are automatically triggered. They're turned on by a relay within the multi-plus. So whenever this cabinet gets too hot, the cooling fans are going to automatically turn on and circulate, you know, cool air through this cabinet to cool down both the inverter and the Orion chargers, because they do generate quite a bit of heat. Here's a quick rundown of what we did to the interior. We replaced her max air fan with a Mabru 12V AC unit. This is a really efficient unit, guys. I've seen it drawing between 20 amps and at max upon startup up to 40 amps. But normally when it's running, even on high, it's drawing about 20 amps from the battery bank. It's got nice, you know, fan only modes. It's got LEDs as well that come with this trim kit. And it's nice to have a 12-volt air conditioner because you can run your stove at the same time as your AC unit and not overload your inverter. So we're pretty happy about how that turned out. We put a touch 70 here by the bed. So this is going to be her control system for, you know, her entire system. She can see her battery percentage, see how much power is going in and out of the battery, how much power she's drawing with her loads, as well as her DC loads. She can also go into here and change any settings of the equipment in the system. So right here, we've got a conveniently located remote for the inverter. This allows her to easily switch the unit on, off, or to charger only mode and adjust the AC input current limit. So if you're plugging into a friend's house with a 15 amp circuit, you make sure you don't blow that breaker. And then if you're pulling into a campground, you're going to want to crank that up to about 30 amps. After replacing the MaxxAir with the AC unit, we noticed the ceiling was just shot in with brad nails. It was kind of sagging in some points, so we ended up just going ahead and replacing the ceiling with cedar planks. Nothing super fancy, but I'm pretty happy with how it turned out. All right, let me show you the roof. So we've used Unaka's HSLD roof rack for this extended Promaster. This is really nice. It uses 80/20 hardware. Everything's got a sleek black finish. And in the front and on the sides, we've got fairings to block wind and any noise or drag the wind would create as you're driving down the road. We were able to mount 650 watts of solar. We've got 2 200-watt panels in the back and a 250-watt in the front. And of course, the beautiful Mabru AC unit. Very happy with the performance and happy with how this turned out.